We're going to look at how to make a histogram in Excel. So histograms are for quantitative data. So what we're looking at here is what percent of your home state's high school students graduate within 4 years. So this data is for 2010 to 2011, which is the first year that states used a common formula for graduation rates so that it was easy to compare them. Okay, so you could compare apples to apples and not apples to oranges. So to make a histogram, we're going to start by highlighting just the quantitative data. So we're not going to highlight any of the categories, the names of the states. We just want to highlight that quantitative data. And then on the insert menu, I think it's easiest to find histograms under the recommended charts, but I also think this one with the set of blue bars, there is a histogram here, and you can certainly click on that there, or you could go to recommended charts, choose all charts, and histogram is in the bottom third of that list. So there's our histogram. All right, now there's one little issue with the way that Excel makes histograms, and that is that it doesn't do a good job figuring out what the max is. So I'm not really quite sure how they came up with the division of bars here, but in order for this graph to be accurate, the min needs to be correct and the max needs to be correct. So to fix that, we need to format the axis. So if you're on a PC, you can usually right-click down where the numbers are just below the bars, and you'll see a choice for Format Axis. Okay, if you're on a Mac, usually you want to try and right-click on this white space between the two bars, and you should get a choice for Format Axis, and it won't look exactly like this panel, but you should see the word bins there, and you'd want to change, there's a little drop-down, and change that to be number of bins. And then if you're in the version of Excel that has, instead of this gray kind of color along the background, there's a version of Excel that has a black background on it. If you're on that one, I think the most likely place to be able to get to this Format Axis menu is to right-click out here, kind of in this white space away from the bars. Okay, so either way, we should be able to get to that Format Axis panel. So let me pull that back up. And I'm looking to change the number of bins. So the bins are the same thing as the bars. And actually, if I just click this button, it will automatically fix this to be the min and the max. So I'm not certain why we have to do that, but I do know that this will then get the correct max and min in there, and then the divisions will be correct. So here is what those 5 bins or bars look like. I could certainly change this to a different number. Maybe I want to do 8 bins or something like that. And so that shows up there like that. Now, if these decimals get really long and out of hand, below the choices for bins, there's usually a choice for number. You can change the category from being general data, so that could be words, times, dates, numbers, anything, to be number. And that you can change the number of decimal places. So you could go even down to 0 decimal places, then it makes it a little easier to see kind of what those labels are. So that's one way of adjusting those if you need to. And then for the chart title here, let's call this high school graduations. And we should put some axis labels here. So we'll get a primary horizontal and a primary vertical. So on the vertical axis, the heights of these bars represent the number of states that had a graduation rate between, so for this one would be between 59 and 63%. So we'll call this number of states. And then on the horizontal axis, we'll call this graduation rate by percentage. Okay, so we've identified our units for that as well. So that's how we work on making a histogram in Excel.